Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome back here to the launch pad and our continuing countdown coverage to the launch of NASA SpaceX Crew 4 up to the International Space Station. This morning, the astronauts are going to be joining the media for their final engagement while down on Earth ahead of their launch in just a few days' time. The astronauts are in quarantine right now at NASA Kennedy Space Center, having arrived yesterday, and they are going to be getting ready to take questions from the media for the next about 30 to 45 minutes or so. So we'll be excited to hear some of their last thoughts and maybe what they're looking forward to as they get ready to head up to station. As always, if you guys have questions, you can send those in the chat, and we'll be answering those live throughout the morning as we can about the mission. Take a moment, hit that like and share button. It really does help us out here at the launch pad. And we're going to get underway here in just a couple of seconds. So stay with us for the crew media engagement of NASA SpaceX Crew 4.
Good morning from NASA's Kennedy Space Center, and welcome to our Q&A with the Crew 4 crew. These astronauts arrived here yesterday for their launch to the International Space Station, which is scheduled for Saturday, April 23rd at 5:26 a.m. Eastern Time. Joining us here today are the Crew 4 astronauts, Kjell Lindgren, Bob Hines, and Jessica Watkins, as well as European Space Agency astronaut Samantha Cristoforetti. We will get started here shortly with some questions, but first I'd like to start us with an opening statement from the Crew 4 commander, Kjell Lindgren. Take it away, Kjell.
Hey, good morning, Dylan, and good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. We are incredibly excited to be here at Kennedy Space Center and to have this opportunity to chat with you all and to answer your questions. We flew in from Johnson Space Center yesterday. We arrived and as we were landing, we had the opportunity to fly around the center and to see the Artemis rocket sitting on the launch pad, to see our launch pad, and really just to get an overview of this historic center, really the seat of launching U.S. astronauts and our international partners from the United States, and just arrived here with an overwhelming sense of gratitude for this opportunity that lays in front of us. You really get a sense, having gone through this training program and now arriving here, a sense of the vastness of teams that have pulled this opportunity together, and so we're just incredibly grateful for this opportunity to be a part of a larger team that includes Kennedy Space Center, all the space centers here in the U.S., our commercial partners, our international partners, and to be that part of the team that gets to go up to the space station and conduct the science and research to improve life here on Earth and to extend our presence in the solar system. And to borrow a phrase from Wadi from our JSC press conference, I think we all want to be good custodians or stewards of this opportunity, and we're very excited to get started. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Kjell. So we will go ahead and get started with some questions now from the phone. If you would like to ask a question, please press *1 on your phone. You can later press star 2 if your question has already been answered. We will also be taking your questions from social media, and we will go ahead and get started with a question from social media. Ramesh on Twitter asks what astronauts will do in their first 5 days leading up to launch.
That's a good question. Not having been there before, we'll see. No, certainly. So our first day or so will be spent conducting the rendezvous and docking and all of that stuff. And then once we get onto space station itself, we'll have a little bit of adaptation time, still getting used to zero G, to moving around and just letting our bodies adapt to it. And while we're doing that, we'll also be talking with our crewmates up there that have been doing the great work that they've done for the last 6 months or so. So they'll be handing off a lot of the things that they've been working on, teaching us some tricks of the trade and just some currency really of how things have been operating up there, so that we can pick up and make a seamless transition, so that they can come home then a few days later.
Awesome. And we will take our first question from the phone from Ken Kramer at Space Up Close.
Oh, hi. Thank you for taking my call, and welcome to the astronauts. It was great to see you at the crew arrival event we had yesterday, and hear your overview. So my question is for Samantha, please. Can you tell us about the work you're going to be doing with the European robotic arm? And I'd like to know if you'll be doing any spacewalks. Thank you.
Yes, thanks for the question. Yes, it's a very exciting time for ESA. We had an opportunity a few months ago to finally launch the European robotic arm together with the Russian module MLM, and it's been in the process of commissioning since, and that commissioning phase is ongoing. I am personally not trained to operate the European robotic arm. So any operations to directly operate the arm will be under the direct responsibility of the cosmonauts, and of course together with the joint ESA and Russian teams on the ground. There are, as I'm sure you're aware, a sizable number of spacewalks planned related to the European robotic arm, and there is a possibility that I might perform one of those spacewalks. However, the detailed plans for that sequence of spacewalk is not finally defined yet.
Okay, we will go ahead and continue with questions from the phone bridge. A reminder that if you would like to ask a question, please press star 1 on your phone to join the queue. Our next question comes from Will Robinson-Smith at Spectrum News 13.
Hey, good morning, and I'll echo Ken saying it was great to see you all flying yesterday, and hope you're settling in well at crew quarters. Question would be for the full crew, out of all of the astronaut candidates that were possibly going to be selected, obviously you were part of the class of 13 that moved forward, individually, part of your classes. So I wanted to know, for you guys, what do you feel like you bring to the astronaut corps as individuals to further enhance space exploration? Thanks.
Well, that's a great question, and I think that we all are incredibly grateful for this opportunity. It's to apply during a selection from the multitudes of folks that are interested in becoming astronauts and have this dream of flying in space. It's incredibly humbling to be selected into the astronaut corps and have this opportunity to train and fly, to realize a lifelong dream of living and working in low Earth orbit. And to get to train, to spend that 2 years as an astronaut candidate, learning all of the skills and knowledge that's required to be an effective crew member is exhilarating. It's, again, a dream come true to spend a couple of years just immersed in human spaceflight and to prepare for that opportunity to fly. And then to be assigned to a mission. So, I think that we all bring experience and skills from our previous careers. We have a very diverse representation of backgrounds here in terms of scientific and engineering and operational backgrounds. And I think that all of us feel like pull from those backgrounds and pull from the training that we experienced in the astronaut office to really round out this crew. And so for me personally, it's such a privilege to be on this crew, to be with this group of astronauts. I think that we feel prepared, we are confident in our skills, we're excited to fly and to put those skills to work, and then to get to spend, the duration of a long duration expedition on space station with this group, I think is going to be very fulfilling and incredibly fun.
Yeah, and I'll just add that I think one thing we do all have in common, we do come with these different expertise and backgrounds that we can bring to the table. But I think one thing that we all have in common across the astronaut corps, as well as in this crew in particular, is this spirit of teamwork. How that's manifested itself in our lives has looked a little bit different, but being able to be a team player and put the team first is something that I really value about this team, and is what is going to make us ultimately successful in that long duration flight that we're looking forward to.
And sorry, this is being a very long answer, but there is one thing I would like to add, which is I think we all have a great awareness of the fact that we are incredibly fortunate. We all went through a selection process with hundreds, if not thousands, of extremely valued candidates. And, we realize that many of those candidates, again, hundreds, if not thousands of them, would be perfectly capable of being astronauts as well. So the fact that it was us and not somebody else comes down to a great deal of luck, of being in the right place at the right time. And so I think for the people among us who are in any way you want to define it successful, because we were able to achieve a certain goal in our lives, it's really, really important to remind ourselves that a lot of it comes down to things that we couldn't control. And so to remain humble in that sense is really important, I think.
Yeah, I totally agree. The selection process itself is one of the most humbling processes or things that you could ever participate in. I think we all agree. The people that we meet through the interview process, and they're just amazing people. They've done so many amazing things, and so it's incredibly humbling, and it's just such an honor to have been selected into the Corps. One of the things that we talk a lot about, like our professional backgrounds and the diversity that we bring to that, and then NASA getting ready for missions trains us to try and have equal skill sets and that kind of thing. But beyond that, we all bring our personal experiences as well. Just the things that you've done growing up, they bring different perspectives into solving problems and that kind of thing. And so that's the kind of thing I think with a diverse group of people and a diverse crew. Regardless of all the training that we get, we just have these different life skills and life experiences that we all bring to the table. And so with a team like this, we've got an awesome group here. I think we'll be able to handle pretty much anything anyone throws at us.
Awesome. All right, folks, we are in the middle of our Crew 4 Q&A press conference. A reminder, if you are on the phone and you would like to ask a question, please press *1. Our next question comes from Zach Aubert at the Launchpad News.
Yes, good morning, Crew 4. It's great to see all of you from Crew Quarantine. As you guys have gotten ready to head up to station for this long-duration mission, what advice have you been given from Crew 1 or 2 or from Crew 3 on station on just how to prepare for this longer time away from your families? Are there anything special that you guys are bringing up to kind of make your kind of pods a little more connected to home or remind you of home while you're going up for this longer mission?
You guys have some fellow turtles that have been paving the path for you. What advice have they given you?
Yeah, when you have classmates up there, you always have to have a certain filter, I think, on the advice that they give you, because you're never really sure if they're if they're setting you up for something. But certainly, one of the big parts of these long-duration missions is leaving our families behind. We get to be the ones sitting on TV, and we're the ones that get to go do this incredible thing, but our families are the ones really that make the big sacrifices, and I think they have the bigger challenge in front of them, honestly. Staying at home and carrying the burden. And so we are all, to a person, incredibly grateful for the sacrifices that our families make for us to be able to go do this incredible adventure. As far as, that piece of it, that I'm going to incredibly miss my family while we're gone, and I think we're all in that same boat. So bringing pictures along is a really big part of it. With today's technology, we can even have little video clips or things like that sent up, and those things will just kind of warm my heart in the times when I'm missing my family. So.
Okay, our next question comes from David Curley at the Discovery Channel.
Hey guys, thanks for taking the questions. You've had a chance to see the SLS sitting on the pad as part of some of you being part of the Artemis folks. How did it look? And give me a sense. I'm assuming you've been following the wet dress rehearsals and the fact that it's going to have to go back to BAB before they conclude those tests. What you think of the testing program from inside the agency? Thank you.
Yeah, it is incredible to see that thing sitting out there on the pad. It is just majestic. We were driving out last night and got to see it in all its glory with the lights shining on it. It is incredible to see that just amazing human achievement. What an engineering marvel that thing is. And so to have the opportunity, maybe we'll be on orbit when that thing launches. We're hoping to be able to get a glimpse of that. We'd love to be on the ground at some point and watch it, but I think we'd all rather be in space, honestly. But yeah, that thing is amazing. We honestly have been a little bit isolated as we start getting ready and really focusing on our mission. So we haven't been following it too closely, but we've certainly been watching, and hearing of some of the successes and some of the challenges that they've been having out there. And this is why we test, right? Like this is the whole reason we're doing a wet dress rehearsal, so that we can learn all of these things before we go and before we light that candle for real. So, we talk of in the test community, we talk about, failures are some of your biggest successes sometimes. So you go out there, you test, and when something doesn't go quite right, that's a learning point, and sometimes you learn more from those failures than you do from successes. So I think that's where we're at with Artemis right now. I know they're going to come back, they're going to fix some things, and then they'll give it another shot here in the next few weeks. So we're really looking forward to that, and we hope to get to see that thing light off and while we're on orbit.
Right. Thank you, Bob. We are going to go back to some questions from social media, starting with a question from Twitter. From Twitter user Family Universe. They have a question for the rookies, and they would like to know what you are most looking forward to in space.
Yeah, I think the real answer to the question is all of it. We are super pumped to get up there, get to have this once in a lifetime experience, and get to share it with our friends who are up there now, and our friends obviously here on the crew, and then of course share it with the ground as much as we possibly can as well. But certainly for me, I think the thing I'm most excited about is looking out the window. I know it is a bit cliche, but it is true. Certainly for me, kind of as a geologist, having that scientific background, the ability to look out the window, the cupola window of the ISS, and see the Earth from that vantage point, see all of the processes and features that we can see from that perspective is just super exciting. And just to be able to look down on our home from our perch up on orbit, it's just going to be super awesome.
And Wadi's going to be doing a lot of looking out the window, because anytime any of the rest of us have a question about some geological feature on the ground, we're going to be paging Wadi to come and help explain what exactly. I can't think. I mean, I think from Samantha and I's experience, it is so amazing to look out the window. But there are so many times where you're like looking and it's just gorgeous and beautiful, but you want to understand what it is that you're looking at, and there's really no way to do that. And now we have a way. So thank you ahead of time, Wadi, for your service.
She's probably going to have like a little question box, and we'll just drop our questions in there, and she'll answer them later. So. Yeah, likewise for me. I think looking out the window, I think almost every rookie will probably give that answer. Getting up there, getting unstrapped after SECO, you're weightless. First place I'm going to go is go look out the window. As a pilot with an aviation background, one of the things that's always intrigued me is just the technology, but also the pureness of flying and those the way those things merge and the whole experience. And and here we are flying on something that is the pinnacle of human technology, and getting to go fly into orbit. And so to be able to do that and couple that with this amazing view and see this incredible creation from a new perspective is, I think that's, one of the things I'm most excited about. And then certainly us getting to go up there and open the hatch and see our classmates that we haven't seen in, 6 or 7 months. So really excited to get up there and give them a big hug.
Awesome. So continuing with questions, if you are on the phone and you would like to ask a question, please press *1 on your phone. We will take another question from social media also about life on the space station. Ishmael on Twitter would like to know what sort of research the crew will be doing during your stay on the International Space Station.
Yes, thank you for that question. So the space station is, of course, first and foremost a laboratory, a very special one. Like laboratories on the ground usually are quite specialized to one discipline, and they do research on this one thing, that research group, that's their topic. The ISS is a little bit different. It's specialized in microgravity, which is a fancy word for weightlessness. And the truth is that there is a very, very broad spectrum of scientific disciplines, from physical sciences like combustion and fluid mechanics, materials, all the way through to life sciences, and it can be studies down to the cell level, tissue level, organ level, and then the entire, physiology of an entire organism, and it can be plants or animals, all the way to the human body in, human physiology experiments where we are, the operators, but also the object of the observation, and basically in any kind of scientific discipline in which there is a researcher who can come up with a hypothesis, a question where microgravity, weightlessness can play a role, where it helps us if we can eliminate the effects of gravity, because all of a sudden there is a phenomenon that we can observe, that we can measure, that any kind of experiment like that is then a candidate. And so we will actually perform dozens of experiments during our stay on orbit.
Awesome. We will take our last question from social media. Folks would love to know what everyone's last meal on Earth will be.
It's called the ultimate meal.
Go ahead.
Are we? So I think I have asked for some, it's very much Italian, risotto salsicce funge, which is like a mushrooms and sausage risotto with some veal involtini with scamorza and speck and mashed potatoes. But as a dessert, in honor of Florida, who is hosting us, key lime pie.
Are we sharing? I think we should share. I may have to revise mine. I am having steak and rice, veggies, and then for dessert, strawberry rhubarb pie.
I'm going to have some of Kjell's strawberry rhubarb pie. I also likewise did steak. I did a steak and lobster surf and turf with some mashed potatoes.
And you can tell we're already starting to think alike. I also am going to have steak and mashed potatoes. So we'll definitely be trading with Samantha.
Absolutely. Hey, thank you so much for this opportunity to chat with you all, to answer your questions. Look forward to you all following us through the launch, to our time on station. We are super excited, and we're excited that you all would be joining us.
Thank you, Kjell. All right, everyone, that's going to be all the time that we have for today. NASA's next media event around the Crew 4 launch will be the pre-launch news teleconference at approximately 9 p.m. on April 21st, following the launch readiness review. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Thank you so much to the Crew 4 astronauts for answering everyone's questions. Be sure to tune in to watch these astronauts launch in the Crew Dragon Freedom to the International Space Station on April 23rd. Coverage will start at 1:45 a.m. Eastern Time. You can watch live online at nasa.gov, on NASA TV, and on NASA social media channels. You can also follow the crew and NASA on social media for any updates around the launch. Thank you everyone so much for joining us, and go Crew 4.
And thus concludes the last crew media engagement with the NASA SpaceX Crew 4 ahead of their launch in just a few days' time up to the International Space Station. As always, I think you can see there's quite a synergy between this crew, and we're excited to see them get up on station and finally put all of the years of training and the last many months of final training and work to use up on the ISS. Again, appreciate NASA connecting us in there with the astronauts. Get in a last question before they head up. It was a bright and early one, starting really only at 6:30 a.m. Eastern, which for a lot of media across the United States, stretching into 3 and 2:30 in the morning. So a little bit of a quieter news media engagement than we may have seen if it was in the afternoon, but you can see the astronauts were up and ready to go. So we're grateful for them taking that time as they spend their last few days in quarantine down at NASA Kennedy Space Center. Coming up shortly, we have the farewell ceremony for the Axiom Space AX-1 crew on the International Space Station, so we hope you'll join us for that. We're expecting that to get underway shortly, but for now, this will conclude our crew media engagement coverage of NASA SpaceX Crew 4. Make sure you've hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of the countdown to launch of the NASA SpaceX Crew 4 team as they count down the last few days until they head up to the International Space Station. But for now, this is Zach from TLP Network Studios signing off. We'll see you soon.